get started today, I just wanted to remind us that this is the 17th anniversary of 9/11. Here we are at September the 11th, and so before we get started, just to spend a moment of remembrance to think about the many lives that were lost on that particular day. I know this is atrocities happen around the world, but just here that we're standing in front of you on 9/11, just to take a moment to think about the many men and women, children that were lost on that day, precious souls that no longer will be with us. So just for a second. Well, thank you all for coming, and good afternoon, and welcome to the 2018 academic year. I hope all members of our community had a chance to have some rest and relaxation during our beautiful summer months, and that you started the semester with renewed energy and commitment. We normally have a great deal to celebrate as we start a new academic year, and this year really is no exception. The 2017-18 academic year was one that was filled with many new projects, programs, and tasks to better serve our Buffalo State students and our internal and external communities. I saw many of you throughout the summer months, and so some of you did not seem to take a break at all. And by the end of August, however, all faculty and staff had returned ready to teach students and guide them towards success. The summer research projects and the work has been placed aside, and by now we have all fallen back into our familiar fall semester pattern. So here we are, gathering our energy to take a deep breath as we all fully jump back into the new academic year. As typical, I will recall the accomplishments and the trials of last year as we begin yet again. We had another year full of many gains and adjustments made and movements forward. In 2017 and 2018 was a year where several members of our community hit significant years of service in Buffalo State, and with that came those predictable retirements. Many people were acknowledged through small or large campus gatherings that allowed us the opportunity to wish them well as they transitioned to a new stage. We also had a few members leave our community to take other opportunities, and we also wish them well as they go into their new positions. I begin my remarks by reminding us of some of the many changes that occurred last year. Among the new faces on campus are several members of our new senior leadership team. Dr. Tim Gordon joined us as Vice President of Student Affairs during the beginning of the spring semester, coming most recently from Wisconsin system. Dr. Jacqueline Malcolm joined as CIO and Vice President of Enrollment, Marketing, and Communication in July, coming from her leadership role in communications at Catholic University. Mr. Jim Finnerty joined Buffalo State as Vice President of Advancement in mid-July, coming most recently from her leadership role in advancement of the Oshai Children's Hospital advancement. And Laura Barnum joined us just 2 weeks ago as Vice President of Finance and Management, having had previous leadership roles in research management at the University of Buffalo. Would all of our new vice presidents please stand so that you can be recognized and people can begin to know who you are? And would all other faculty and staff who have joined us since September please stand so that we can recognize you again and warmly welcome you to the Buffalo State family. New people. Welcome to you all. Last year, we had a very busy year, so I'd like to take a little time reminding us of some of the many projects that were completed, moved along, or began during the past academic year. Within the Division of Academic Affairs, there were many significant accomplishments during the year. Academic advisement was a significant focus, As many of you know, the Committee on Undergraduate Retention, the College Senate, and surveys from students all provided a clear picture to our campus that we needed to enhance academic advisement. Thus, last year, we implemented a mandatory student advising policy that provides all undergraduate students the advisement that can assist them in successful progress and completion within their majors. We also added additional support for our students, including student mentoring, supplemental instruction, and youth summer bridge programs. So in many ways, we have deepened our student success support in ways that will benefit students now and in the future. Diversity and inclusion is always a part of the work of each division every year, and last year was no exception. Last year, and for the 5th consecutive year, Buffalo State was the recipient of the HEAT Award, Higher Education Diversity Award, from Insight, the Higher Education Diversity magazine, recognizing our significant and deep commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We held our Buffalo State Dare to Care community service program last fall to record numbers of participants again. Serving our community and the public good are important aspects of our Buffalo State fabric. On the student side, the honors program was enlarged by adding Dean's Honors students and bringing signature scholarship programs under the honors umbrella, with a clear eye to ensuring our program is outstanding, is diverse, and inclusive. We also celebrate the 50th anniversary of our EOP program. And as SUNY's first EOP program, we long ago charted a path for others to follow. And on the faculty side, we continue to enhance our recruitment of diverse faculty. The provost and chief diversity officer work together to develop a faculty diversity fellows program. This program has allowed us to bring 2 new faculty from diverse backgrounds onto our campus. From academic affairs, several new programs were developed last year by faculty members that will serve to address student interests. These include assessment in student affairs, conflict analysis and resolution, data and analytics science, and environmental geography. We held many showcases of the work of students and faculty throughout the year, including the spectacular Runway 11, which was the talk of Western New York before, during, and weeks after the show. And maintaining a stellar tradition, Wright continued to work hard to maintain and augment our significant technological infrastructure. And again, Wright hosted the FIT Academy, the 3rd annual program to foster innovation within teaching and technology was again a huge success. This hands-on program again did a magnificent job leveraging technology to enhance classroom teaching. Wright worked across divisions to implement our version of Starfish, the bingo support portal, to provide additional ways to foster the retention and completion of our students. This electronic framework will provide additional opportunities for faculty and staff to monitor student success, intervene quickly, communicate, and guide students toward success. On the admissions side, our admissions team held our largest open house in history during the spring of 2018. This record gathering surpassed the capacity of the Performing Arts Center and overflowed into Seminole Hall. We also had a very successful fall open house showcasing our Buffalo State programs and facilities. In both events, the entire campus community worked together to share the Buffalo State experience with prospective students. Among the many exciting recruitment events held by admissions was a new collaboration with a new student and family program called Be a Bangle. It was held at the SUNY Welcome Center in New York City. This program provided exposure, information on the site, application, and acceptance for prospective students. We also increased our efforts to offer greater numbers of high-impact practices last year. The number of learning communities more than doubled from the previous year, and the number of service learning courses continues to increase. Over 2,300 students enrolled in service learning courses last year, and the completion of these courses continues to be significantly correlated with student success and completion. For all those that experienced our partial eclipse and the viewing on campus, I'm sure you will agree that it was an impressive event. It was a campus and community assembly that created a clear and powerful memory. Thanks to all who pulled together across divisions, including the alumni engagement staff and our event staff. And a special shout out to Professor Kevin Williams, who had a vision and executed it so completely, allowing Buffalo State to be a place to learn about and experience a solar eclipse. Exciting programs also emerged from our Career Development Center last year. The center hosted the inaugural Internship Appreciation and Recognition event, where we recognized successful Buffalo State interns, coordinators, and partner organizations. And the Suit Up program was launched, where we partnered with JCPenney, so that students and alumni could purchase a business clothing at a significantly discounted price. This allowed our students to be ready to dress for success as they launch into the work and next step experience. The event was truly a collaborative event, finding the fashion department, the professional development schools, and the Office of Alumni Engagement working together to make that a very successful event. And Chartwell's, our campus dining service, introduced new items into the bingo kitchen and launched a Eating Green campaign. Guests increased their satisfaction with campus dining by 6% last year, and dining saw a 24% increase in student rating of food, which is no easy feat to do. Within the Office of the Dean of Students, we saw the continuous care for students gain yet another way to bridge the gap. Buffalo State received a $75,000 grant to provide emergency relief for students facing unexpected financial needs. And the Milligan Food Pantry provided food to nearly 400 students with food insecurity issues last year. We know that these kinds of services are extremely important in providing a safety net for students who sometimes experience unexpected hardships. Within our athletic program, many individual and team honors were also achieved. 7 teams advanced to postseason play, including football, men's hockey, men's soccer, women's basketball, women's hockey, women's lacrosse, and softball. We also had 105 student athletes honored on the SUNYAC Academic Honor Roll, holding a 3.3 or better GPA. And student athletes continue to give back to the community, contributing more than 1,250 hours of their time to community engagement in programs including Cancer Society, Gateway Longview, Kids Night Out, and Yards for Yardley. Within our advancement division, the biggest news is the completion of the much-anticipated Jacqueline LaRusso Alumni and Visitor Center on the corner of Rockwell and Grant. The official opening will be during homecoming week, but this beautiful new building will be the first stop for prospective students as they come to visit campus. Additionally, the building will be a gathering place and a greeting place for alumni when they come back to campus. We'll also add to our locations on campus for multiple use and expanded places for us to host college-related groups. Our Scholarship Gala is the largest single fundraiser event for scholarship dollars each year. Our fantastic 2018 Bengala was a huge success. Thanks to all volunteers, and a special shout out to Associate Dean Carlos Jones, who conceived our fun-filled Hollywood theme and brought it to life with the help of our Buffalo State student performers. Our reach to alumni expanded included the developing of a young alumni committee and an increase in articles developed and published to share the successes of bingos everywhere and across generations. We exceeded several goals within development last year as well. We surpassed our annual funding goal for last year of $4 million, reaching a $5.2 million of generous donations to support students and campus efforts. And we also exceeded our goal for new Peterson Society members and will induct 30 new members into the society. The Peterson Society recognizes individuals and families that leave a planned gift to the college. In addition to the new Alumni Visitors Center, we also completed under the leadership of Finance and Management, a thorough renovation of Bishop Hall, returning it to its original use as a residence hall. Among the significant renovations are single occupancy bathrooms accessible from the main hall, and all new mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, plus many other enhancements. It is also noticeable that last year we saw Phase 4 of the Science and Math Center begin. This project is now under construction and is scheduled for completion in 2020 with a cost of $35.5 million for the final phase. This construction will add the much-anticipated planetarium, greenhouse, and additional offices and research spaces to the building. Many other projects were in various stages of rehab, planning, or design throughout the campus last year, including rehabbing Tower 3 and the design of academic commons, which will be in the library, which will be a one-stop student support center, which will be housed on the first floor of Butler Library. And Finance and Management staff were also engaged in the completion of many energy-saving projects throughout campus. Of interest to many members of the community were the external lighting upgrades completed last year that are not only energy efficient, but also enhance safety throughout by providing greater illumination. Our college resources continued to be on our minds last year. We continued our focus on rebalancing the budget to address a $5 million budgetary shortfall. 2017-18 was year 2 of the 3-year rebalancing goal. I communicated with the campus community during the summer that we had accomplished the $4.2 million target for last year. So we have met our first and second rebalancing goals. I appreciate the careful scrutiny and tough decisions that were made throughout every division as we met our rebalancing figure. Although it is always more enjoyable to have more resources than we need, the shortfall has pressed us all to think creatively and strategically about the work we do, to collaborate more fully, and to forge across-division connections to just get the work done. These new efforts are not without some adjustment, but they represent the sustainable work of the future so that we can continue to be relevant and effective as we serve the educational goals and the purposes that we need to follow for our students. Thank you all for your individual and collective efforts to meet our rebalancing goals. I would like to express my sincere thanks for the past and continued work of the Budget Support Group, chaired by Rebecca Shank. The Budget Support Group played an integral part in our rebalancing efforts. Just this spring, the committee analyzed and reviewed all campus suggestions to assist our rebalancing efforts and presented a report for the cabinet to review. This report was extremely helpful, and we spent a good portion of our yearly retreat reviewing and discussing the items that were forwarded. We will be pursuing the most feasible suggestions as we move forward. Many suggestions were already in place or reinforce our current efforts. Suggestions included both ways to reduce expenditures and possible ways to increase revenue. Last year has been marked with tremendous success throughout the college, while also making critical decisions to secure the campus financial security for the future. The challenges and opportunities were significant last year, but I'm pleased to report that we continue to make positive and significant movement forward on our strategic goals. And I look forward to enhanced accomplishments as we move forward. But because the picture provides a visual reminder of the work of last year, and because I've touched on only a few of the many highlights from last year, I share with you now a visual review of some of the highlights from the 2017-18 academic year. These are merely examples of some of the many bright spots from our last academic year. We are SUNY's urban engaged campus, and our collective goal is to strive for excellence in all we do. really excited to be out again this year for the Buffalo State Dare to Care Day, an opportunity for members of the Buffalo State community to provide community service throughout the city of Buffalo.
Places like Buff State have really gone above and beyond to make sure that these veterans that come home and are looking for new opportunities have these new opportunities.
For this 14 grouping is Buffalo State. It has been a long wait for Buffalo State, their 5th appearance, but first since 1984.
Happy holidays from Buffalo State.
She said, I know what? Read it to me, brother.
Graduates, you may now move your tassel from the right to the left, signifying that you're a Buffalo State graduate.
So I bet you'd forgotten some of those great moments. Yeah, we had a great year. I'd like to share some of my thoughts today on the role of education in a democratic society. I spent a great deal of my time of late thinking about the role of public education to foster the public good for our society in general, and of course, more centrally on the role that Buffalo State plays as an urban engaged anchor institution. Our central role to provide an outstanding education to all members of our community is one that is recognized both within and outside our campus community. Each year, more than 2,500 undergraduate and graduate students complete degree requirements at Buffalo State College and launch to their next step experiences. There is no other day more joyous than Commencement Day in May, when students walk, dance, or glide across the stage to publicly demonstrate the completion of this milestone. And again, as we begin yet another academic year, I remind us all of the important parts that each of you play in the success of our students. As W.B. Du Bois stated, education is a fundamental right that should not be compromised. We all believe in the power of education, and each of us has an individual story of the opportunities that education has opened. We each know that when doors are open, we can best enter those doors when we are prepared. We are all a part of the support team that allows dreams to come true at Buffalo State. We have spent the last several years thinking about what happens after a student makes the good decision to come to Buffalo State College. We ponder the importance of having a curriculum that best prepares a student for future success. Our current efforts to revise general education requirements demonstrate the faculty's recognition that a sound contemporary curriculum is essential to the success of our students. We have looked earnestly at how we advise students and support students and augmented the systems that create a nest of support. We have tackled how we can provide housing, dining services, and technological infrastructure to best serve our students. And we have carefully assessed what else should be done to ensure a safe, sustainable, and thoughtful environment for our students and community members. We seek to develop a community where students thrive, and the end game points to degree completion and future success. I'm here to reaffirm that with my words that we have done much on all of these important efforts. But in some ways, our work is a never-ending story. We will always need to carefully watch the needle on all of these efforts. We will never be finished ensuring that our curriculum is up to date, that the facilities are at an optimal standard, or that we need to make each and every student receive the support that is needed to move him or her to persist, to be retained, and to successfully graduate. So as much as I applaud a job well done and thank you for the good work you're all doing, I must also ask you to continue the pace. Our work is a never-ending story. And as my children used to say, maybe it's also a song that never ends. Today I remind you of yet another important task that we all have as we work with our students. We should foster students to be engaged citizens. We seek for our students to not only be personally and professionally successful, but we seek to foster students' commitment to the larger good, the public good. We seek to develop fully engaged citizens. There are many aspects of our community that support the importance of participatory democracy. Just last month, I blogged about the many ways our coursework is tied to our community. We have students interviewing key people to develop oral histories, so we'll be able to archive, examine, and document the role of key leaders within our community. We have students exploring our environment and addressing whether current behavior is consistent or not with a sustainable world that supports life as we know it today. We lend our energy to newcomers who are trying to make Buffalo their home and to those who have been marginalized for generations. We seriously assume our role as an anchor institution, and we explore ways to enhance our role as a partner in the public good of the many communities we touch. As we deepen our role as an anchor institution, I ask you to explore what additional work we should be doing. Or perhaps you merely need to share some of the work you are currently doing that aligns with our anchor mission. But for the last 18 months, more than ever before in my professional life of over 35 years, I have been drawn into thoughtful conversations and debates about the role of education in a democratic society. I have always believed that education forges a responsibility a responsibility to utilize critical thought and analytical skills in making decisions regardless of your professional work. The responsibility, as I see it, is a responsibility to participate in the betterment of our community and those around you. I am not indicating a prescriptive responsibility, but a willingness to be a part of the solution to the problems communities face, and not the participator in any community harm. There is evidence that students who read, analyze, and become more engaged in politics around them through courses and co-curricular connections are more likely to be engaged citizens post-graduation. Engagement in this case means reading news more regularly, talking about what is happening in their community, and participating in an active way in the democratic process. In a Carnegie report, Engaging for Democracy, Preparing Undergraduates for Responsible Political Engagement, Ehrlich examined 20 programs that focused on college engagement and found that such programs have a positive but a non-ideological increase in engagement. Thus, community engagement in college does not change your political party affiliation or your political leaning, but it does increase your democratic engagement and how you express it and what it means to be active and how active you are as a citizen. The element of political engagement that is easy to assess is voting. In fact, the summer issue of the American Educator was devoted to the power of active citizenship, and I read it with great interest. Voting is just a first step to full participation as an active citizen. Next, engaged citizens must move to give voice and action to support the public good. Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, expressed that democracy is fragile, as we see it in the United States and elsewhere, and it requires us to be more engaged than ever before. Throughout the volume, authors considered what we should do to teach civic engagement and foster participation in the democratic process. Some may say this is not our responsibility, let's let somebody else do it. But who is it? Who is that someone else that is better equipped than a college community? As college educators, we have a unique role in fostering attitudes and behavior that will last a lifetime. If we can teach students to analyze critically and write persuasively, then we can foster an appreciation of the democratic process. If we can teach students the scientific methods and how to apply such reasoning to the world around them, we can also promote civic engagement. If we can encourage an appreciation of nature, art, music, and altruism, can we not cultivate a desire to be part of lifting up your entire community? Lifting your voice by voting is a part of the process of contributing to the democratic process we cherish. If we seek a world that strives to the broader public good, we must embrace the messy work of participating in the democratic process. We must be willing to engage in a robust and sometimes difficult conversation, to debate and to define an argument, and to really understand what is best for the community. We must be willing to examine the materials and reports developed by researchers and scientists and experts that provide information on difficult and sometimes hot-button issues. We must encourage our students to not only gain a diploma, but gain an education and know how to process, examine, and define their perspectives. In How Democracies Die, Levitsky and Ziebald lay out an alarming pattern of the conditions that erode and kill the will of the people. We must use this as a cautionary tale, these erosions to democracy, and understand that as educators, we need to encourage engagement within our communities, within our institutions, and with the many organizations that come together to seek and serve an inclusive and democratic future. As we begin our year, remember that education has a part to play in supporting a democratic world. We should encourage our students to learn about the democratic process. We should support them not only to register to vote, but to carefully analyze the candidates' views, perspectives, and actions, and then to vote for those who best represent the public good. We must encourage students and our entire community to be active citizens, and to strive for what is best for our collective future. As a young person decades ago, I was eager to be a part of the democratic process. I'd studied the history of the many women and men who fought to be able to participate in shaping the world around us. I knew of those who had been killed and beaten and fired and prevented from the basic democratic premise to vote. So whether you relate personally to the women's suffrage movement and people like Susan B. Anthony that fought for women to have the right to vote, or to a much larger battle for African American and other marginalized groups fighting for voting rights, as seen by many people, including Frederick Douglass, Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King, Julian Bond, many of us know that participating in the democratic process has not always been afforded to all citizens, and this right continues to be under siege today. Just last week, in this very room, Diane Nash, the 1960s student leader of the SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and a participant in the desegregation work in Southern communities, spoke to our campus. And she reminded us all that we cannot take democratic rights and privileges for granted, no matter where we live. I have joined other college presidents across the country to support education for democracy. There are 6 core tenets that we all support. 1, that student voting matters. Voting as a young adult starts a habit of participating in the world around you, lending your voice to the discussion, and seeking to empower elected officials that care about the world. 2, democracy in principle and in practice. It supports students' exploration of the principles of democracy and what it means to practice those principles. 3, deliberation for our shared future. This fosters a continuous discussion and a debate on what should our shared future look like, and how do we create a future that supports the many of us and not just a few. And 4, understanding media fact and fiction. Lending analytical tools that are honed in the college experience to understand what is fact and what is fiction, and how to observe that and understand that and analyze that across multiple media outlets. 5, the importance of the development of student leadership. What does student leadership look like? And how do we foster leadership skills among our student population? How can we help students learn to lead earnestly and effectively? And 6, teaching for democracy. What should be in our curriculum to assist students in understanding when democracy is manifest here and across the world, and why it is important to preserve democratic principles. So as we start the 2018-19 academic year and move forward, let us add to our understandings the importance of the role of education in a democracy. How can we, inside and outside the classroom, foster engaged citizens? Let our students and all their diversity know that their place is every place, and that with education comes a responsibility to be fully engaged in your community, to seek the public good, and to exercise the basic tenets of democracy, both voting and being an active citizen. I hope you will join me in contributing to the development and discussion of engaged citizenship on campus, and work with our students to be truly engaged. I wish you a wonderful year, and may you find your work uplifting as you tackle the opportunities and challenges that will uphold you and unfold before you. And I invite you to join me this Saturday for the 2018 Buffalo State Dare to Care Day, where we as a campus community demonstrate our collective dedication to supporting our community. Thank you for your attention, and I invite you for a little lunch.